came around to say hello. One, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
I'm sorry. No, there is no anyway, Sanjay Jha. There is no anyway. I just think this is the most obnoxious statement. And let me get Sushant Sareen. Sushant Sareen, can Sanjay Jha be allowed to go on in the name of freedom of speech by saying what he just said about the Prime Minister and about India?
Well, in the name of freedom of speech, he can say what he wants to say. But if he was to actually start defaming people and somebody was to sue him for making a wrongful comment, then of course he can be sued. That, under the Indian judicial system, that is a possibility. Sanjay is overextending himself. And clearly what he's saying is against the facts. Yes, they refused him the visa. And yes, there has been a kind of a demonization which has happened, for which actually there are people, to use the new term, Dimagi Naxals in the Indian media, who were responsible for it. But that's besides the point. I think what is important is that for somebody like a Zoran Mamdani, who feels no compunctions in meeting people from Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the mothership of terrorism, who feels no compunctions of meeting people who justify 9/11 attacks, who feels no compunctions in meeting with all kinds of despicable elements, for him to suddenly stand up and talk about Mr. Bhagwat. Look, you can disagree with Mr. Bhagwat, you can disagree with his philosophy, you can disagree with his ideology. But to label him as some kind of a war criminal or something like that, I think that's bizarre. Secondly, if you're talking about exclusionism and, somebody who's following very exclusivist policies, I think at least from his public statements, whatever Mr. Bhagwat has said, he has never said that Muslims are not a part of India. In fact, he goes on the other extreme and he says, I consider Muslims to be part of the Hindu ethos because they're born in India. India is Hindustan, something to that effect. I don't exactly remember what he said, but something to that effect. I don't think he has ever excluded Muslims from being part of India. Now, if Muslims do not want to be part of RSS, that is their problem, although RSS does have an organization or at least a cell where there are people from the minority communities who are involved. So to label Mr. Bhagwat in the kind of scurrilous terms that some people have used against him, I think that's unfair. But again, we are living in toxic times. You can attach any label to anybody, pick up a few facts from here and there and, misinterpret them, misrepresent them.
We live in toxic times is the key word, Sushant Sareen and Sanjay Jha. I come back to you. Do you want to rephrase your statement? Not connecting Prime Minister with the great nation of India when he happens to be the Prime Minister of the country. Do you want to reconsider at least the formation of that sentence, Sanjay Jha? Because normally I find you a reasonable man. Critical of the government, which is your right to be, but to say that you do not attach or connect the Prime Minister with the nation is objectionable, Sanjay Jha. It's objectionable.
Navika, you did not even let me speak when you interrupted me. And if you don't want me to speak, I can happily leave your program and return on another day. Let me finish my point and please do not interrupt me here. Number one. RSS's Dattatreya Hosable went to the USA. You know what he said there? He tried to explain that we are not like the Ku Klux Klan. You can imagine the comparison that the RSS is being done with the white supremacist movement, which lynched Black Americans, call them African Americans if you wish, in broad daylight. And we know that lynching happens even in India. I would request you to read M.J. Akbar, a BJP member of parliament's book, Riots After Riots, where he says that the RSS hates the minorities. The RSS hated Gandhiji. RSS supported the British in the freedom struggle. This is a BJP member of parliament. It cannot be denied that there is an institution, and I will call it the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, that has asked for a ban on the RSS, that says that the RSS is not just exclusionary, it has violent manifestations. These are on record. I also want to ask, because you have an RSS representative on your program, I would like him to explain why is it not a registered entity and who funds this organization? Where do they get so much money from? I haven't seen their office in Delhi, but I believe it's
Your
flamboyant.
worry is only about money, but you will give a clean chit and you will use Zoran Mamdani as a poster boy. You will overlook his association with those who are supporters and sympathizers of terror outfits, but you will find fault with RSS. Prafulla Ketkar, please respond to Sanjay Jha, because funding is the biggest problem that they have with the RSS.
See, I can explain to a person who wants to understand. If they don't want to understand, not a single penny is accepted from the government or outside India. It's only funded by RSS Swayamsevaks through Guru Dakshina. It is as simple as this. As far as RSS run organizations and trusts are concerned, all of them are registered and their every year statement is audited, and Mr. Sanjay Jha or whoever is, teaching him this lesson are free to, verify this. As far as this particular issue is concerned, I fail to understand why we are giving, Navika, so much of importance to a person whom the 9/11 victims' families are not even ready to accept at the ceremony. The person who is seen by them as divisive, person who is seen as Islamist, I really pity Congress and its politics. They can fight with Prime Minister Modi and BJP when they want to with RSS. I have no issues. The question is whom they are standing for. They are standing for the person who said, globalize the intifada. And this is the person whom they find the poster boy of secularism. Come on. So I don't want to go into it. The simple reason is the question was asked to Mr. Dattatreya Hosbale on racism. He gave an answer with a parallel which US can understand. As far as Sarasangachalak Dr. Mohan Bhagwat is concerned, he is going to speak to the Indian community on the concept of universal oneness. What is the issue in this? That is the fundamental Hindu philosophy that Gandhiji talked about, that Swami Vivekananda talked about, that every person going outside India talked about, that we essentially believe that everything is one, the diversity is apparent, external. So we should not, the person who believes that only one particular faith has a right to exist and all others are kafirs, they are secular. The person who is going to speak, and he is not going there to preach anybody, he is not going there to convert anybody, he is having a civilizational dialogue, one with Indian community, with couple of think tanks and some eminent people who have invited him to speak. So what is the issue? Why freedom of speech has been denied to us?
And that is the core of the problem that the opposition parties in India seem to have.